If God told you, if you had a choice of choosing Him or killing your own child, what would you choose? And my mom responds with, she would choose God, even if it meant killing me. That's when I knew for sure I was in a cult. Hey guys, welcome to ChiquitoCam. So, in this video, I will be explaining my experiences growing up in a religious cult. Most of you guys probably don't know me, but I am the owner of The Imaginist, which is a music channel. I'll be dropping the link down in the description if you guys want to check that out. So before we get started, I just want to say a quick disclaimer. I don't mean to offend anybody by making this video. I do want to protect everybody that was involved, including like the name of the church as well as the name of the members. I'm not going to bring that up. I do want to protect them. But yeah, just please don't get offended. I'm just saying my experiences in the church, and if you don't like what I'm saying, you don't have to watch this video, but I just want to say my experiences. So I was raised in a very small Pentecostal church. We had around 30 to 40 members. It was a very, very, very small church. And most of my life, I had a very strict upbringing. I wasn't allowed to watch like certain movies. I wasn't allowed to listen to worldly music and even hang out with certain people that either wasn't a part of the church or that left the church. Church probably consumed most of my youth as well as like through my teenage years. We would have service every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. So on Sundays, we would have Sunday school from 10 in the morning to 12 p.m. noon. And then we would have to go back for the actual service from 3 to 5. And then Wednesdays were 7 to 9 p.m. And then Fridays were also 7 to 9 p.m. However, we did have prayer in the morning on Thursday, but since I was in school, I couldn't attend that. But when it was like summer, like that's when I would attend. And it was around 2 hours of prayer. And then on top of that, on Tuesdays, we had Bible study for 2 hours. So I was at church constantly Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays for the most part. And even though I attended church all the time, like even if like a church member missed one day, like the whole church would know because like it's a very small church, like everybody knows each other. So it was like sometimes embarrassing, like they would ask you like why you didn't go to church, or like if you couldn't go to church you would have to ask for permission, which I think is very weird. Growing up, I was a very religious kid. I would pray every day. I would read my Bible every day. I 100% believed in God. I tried to follow every rule in the Bible, every rule that the church had, and I was just in constant fear of sinning, which I'll talk more about that in other videos, but the fear mongering is what really, really got me. I was in constant fear of losing my salvation. And in the context of the church, what that means is that like when you fully give your life to God or to Jesus Christ, but it has to be in like a physical form. Like you need to have a physical encounter with God, and in order for you to be saved and in order for you to have a guaranteed ticket into heaven. And so this caused just a lot of anxiety and fear in myself because I felt like I was trying so hard to be holy. And the church like constantly pushed that narrative that if you mess up or if you sin, like you're going to go to hell, right? Because you're going to lose that salvation, because that's what my church believed in. And I know a lot of Christian churches also believe in that you can lose your salvation. And in my church, yeah, that was the case, where if you sinned, like you had to repent or else you're going to risk losing your salvation. So the church was very controlling, especially on what you can and cannot wear. I think the women had it the hardest. They could not wear pants like at all, like not not just at church. Like they couldn't wear pants like at home, even at home. Like that's crazy. At home or like anywhere outside the church. Like you had to wear either skirts that were like knee length or dresses. They were also not allowed to have like to paint their nails. They weren't allowed to have makeup. Like they weren't allowed to like to do any of that. And then they couldn't wear like revealing clothing. Like if they were to go to like the beach or something or go swimming, they had to wear like modest clothing. Like they couldn't wear a bikini or anything like that. For the men, it was kind of weird rules. We couldn't have like facial hair. And if you did, they would like kind of like look at you, like make weird looks at you. And also like we couldn't wear shorts. We would have to wear pants. And so it wasn't just like the physical aspect that they were controlling, but they were also controlling like your mind as well by like constantly gaslighting you. And I'm planning on making a video about that because there is a lot I could talk about like the gaslighting in the church that I grew up in. And it just gave me like so much trust issues later on. My church was very cultish in that you could not question anything. Like if you even had like a question where it was like where it invoked like actual critical thinking skills, like they would get mad and they would be like, "Oh, it's the devil working in you that's causing you to doubt." And I'm like, now that I look back at it, it was like a very manipulative tactic that they used to keep you inside the church and to also make you think that it's your fault. It's your fault. It's never the church, it's never the religion, it's never God. It's always your fault. So this video could be like hours and hours long of me talking about my experiences, but I am planning on making like multiple videos on my experiences in the church, so make sure you guys stay tuned for those. And so there was just a lot of emotional manipulation and just a lot of gaslighting, which is what cults really thrive on. So this experience that I had with my parents really made me realize that I was in a cult. One night I was eating dinner with my parents and my dad wasn't religious at the time, but my mom was very, very involved in the church. My dad was very curious about my mom's religion, which again is Pentecostalism. For some reason, I can't pronounce it. I could do it in Spanish, Pentecostes. My church was very Spanish speaking. But anyways, my my dad was very curious about that, and he just randomly decided to ask my mom this question. And it was a very, very deep hypothetical question. And it made me feel so sad. So my dad asked my mom, if God told you, I'm sorry guys, like, if God told you, if you had a choice of choosing him or killing your own child, what would you choose? And my mom responds with, she would choose God, even if it meant killing me. And at that moment, I just was in disbelief. That's when I knew for sure I was in a cult. And I was like, this is not normal. Like, I can't believe the church is making her think like that, where it would be acceptable to kill your own child just because God tells you to. And that's like when my deconstruction began. When I was in the church, I had a lot of personal struggles and I felt so disconnected from myself, even my family, even though my mom was involved in the church. And currently, like, my dad is involved in the church as well, but it was a very recent thing, and I'm planning on making a video about that as well. Um, but basically, the church really stripped me from my identity. When I was going through puberty, and when my church friends were also going through like that, because we were like all around the same age. Like, we were probably all like 1 year apart from each other. But like, I remember, like, as a teen, like, all the teens in the church would be like struggling with like sexual desires or like sexual sin, right? And I wasn't necessarily struggling with that. And I felt more holier than them in a way. But then I realized it was because I was into men. So that's what made it like very complicated in my relationship with God and in the church, right? Because my church was very against homosexuality. And so I thought there was something wrong with me because I was like, okay, I'm not having feelings towards women, right? I'm having them towards men. And so I thought, like, okay, so that's wrong, right? So that means that there's something wrong with me, right? And I decided to have like this I decided to talk to one of the church leaders about it, and I think that was like probably like one of the stupidest things I've ever done. I'm planning on making another video about that. That should be an interesting video. Um, but I just felt so trapped between religion and my identity as a gay man, right? And I just remember feeling so depressed, and I just felt like killing myself. Like, I just wanted to be accepted. And just the realization that I would never be accepted by these people that I've been around my entire life is just, it's very devastating. And I just had a lot of struggles with that. And I am planning on making a video about that. I'm planning on making a video about all these other things, but it's just, it was very, very hard um, going through all of that. So I started questioning my faith when I was around 16 years old. Um, and I fully left at 18 years. And my parents were just very disappointed in me. And it was very, very hard to leave the church because I just felt so much pressure because I've always been in the church, and I didn't want people to like talk shit about me, right, for leaving the church, because the church does talk crap about people who leave. And they even like prevent you from hanging out with those people that left, which I think is very cultish. And I'm planning on making a video on the characteristics of a cult because I think that's very important, especially for people who are planning on leaving a church or another cult or another religion, right? But yeah, it's a relief when you leave. And at first, it's very scary because you're leaving behind your entire past, but your future is going to look so much brighter. So, as you guys can tell, I'm no longer Christian. I do identify as agnostic, so I don't entirely believe that there isn't a God, but I don't believe that there, like, for sure is a God. And I'm planning on talking more about that, about like my beliefs now and how they shifted over time. But I am still living with my parents, which is a huge struggle, because I am not out to them. Like, I haven't came out, and it's really hard. It's really hard to keep all that, like to hide your truth and to constantly lie to them. But I am planning on coming out to them after college. I just have 1 more year. I'm currently majoring in medical laboratory science, which is very exciting. I love what I do. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video and this channel, right, to just spread awareness, right, that you don't have to be captive, right, to your church. You don't have to have others tell you what you can and cannot believe. Like, the whole point of this channel is just to tell you that you can use your mind. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to question things. And it's actually very, very healthy to question things, right? And that's how I left, right? I critically thought about all these things and just all the trauma, all these experiences that I went through, right? It just built up over time, and I was like, you know what? That's it. Like, I can't with this church anymore, and I think it's time to leave. So before I conclude this video, I just want to say that I hope that this channel creates a safe space for you guys. I don't know what you guys are going through. There's probably a reason why you guys clicked on this video, and if you guys are also going through religious trauma, just like I did, just know that it's gonna be okay. That it's okay to question your beliefs. It's okay to critically think about things, and that's all this channel is gonna be about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this channel. It's not just gonna be about like religion. It's also gonna be about like gaming and like vlogs and other fun stuff. So it's not just gonna be about this stuff, but I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next video.